The topic that I'll be discussing for tonight is about real estate investment, specifically on how you can actually resale or flip a property, meaning ibebenta mo yung property. And we're talking about my focus would be all about pre-selling property because we probably know or have an idea already on how to flip or sell a property, which is already done. Now, let me show you the other side, which is not very common to a lot of people, especially those who's not really into investing in real estate, which is you can actually earn a lot. In fact, you don't have to shell out a lot of cash in order to earn big when it comes to flipping a property, specifically if it's still a pre-selling property. So with that, let me go to the first slide. So the first slide simply defines what is real estate property flipping. You can read it there, but it simply means that you buy a property at a certain specific time. You wait for a month, a year, 2 years, wait for the property to appraise in value, and then you sell that particular property, add whatever you invested already, and the increase of the property, and then you sell it at that particular value. That's how you earn from it. Next slide. So if you're considering buying a property specifically for resale or flipping, it doesn't matter if it's a pre-selling property or something that's already done or ready for occupancy. These key points are a few of those that I would highly recommend that you consider because these are some of the essential points on what will drive your property in its value in order for you to actually earn from it. The first point would be, of course, location. It always has to be in a strategic location. Of course, a particular property's value, one of the main force or one of the main factors that actually drive the value of the property to appraise is its location. That's been given, regardless if it's a property within Metro Manila or it's a property in the province. Location is key whenever you're looking or buying a property. If it doesn't matter if you're buying a property as an end user or as an investor, location is very, very critical and should be one of the main considerations. And the next point that you could see here, I specifically said near CBD, and I'm talking about properties within Metro Manila. Why I say near CBD? Simply because buying a property near the CBD will actually give you more value for your money, which means that a one bedroom, 15 million, 40 square meter property in the CBD, say for example, in Bonifacio Global City or BGC Taguig, will cost you around 15 million. Now, if you go outside the CBD, say for example, in Mandaluyong, in Pasig, which is essentially just the neighbor of Taguig or BGC or even Makati, a two-bedroom there, which is around 60 square meters, 55 to 60 square meters, would only cost around 7 million, which means that your 15 million will actually enable you to buy two properties if you just make it a little more strategic by buying outside the CBD, which is still a very hot location to begin with, simply because people would still choose to actually live outside the CBD provided it's still very accessible. Which brings me to my next point. It has to be accessible to public transportation. Now, with the introduction of a very good term, which has been used widely for a very long time now, and in a few countries in Asia alone, to name a few, there's Japan, and of course there's Singapore, who, for people who's familiar, who's been to those countries, would know that it's probably just a few minutes away. I mean, any home or most of the homes or most of the properties are just a few minutes away, a few minutes walk from a particular train station. And this is what is commonly called TOD or transport oriented development, which will be discussed more by the next presenter. But essentially, what this means is your property has very good accessibility to public transportation. By public transportation, in other countries, this is mainly train stations, because of course they don't have jeepneys like we do, They don't have UB Express and all of those things. But in other countries, if you're within a TOD or a transport oriented development property, your property is within those locations, it means that you're probably 5-10 minutes away from a train station. And of course, for those who travel a lot, one of the key factors that we always consider whenever we're looking for a hotel or an Airbnb is the first thing that we would look for, aside from a 7-Eleven, is a train station. We would always want our home or our temporary home for that particular country to be within a few minutes away from the train station, which will enable us to travel better. And if you go back home, go back to the Philippines, any property right now which has direct access, preferably something that would just let you walk and be within a train station, 5-10 minutes walking, would be very, very, very good investment. In the long term, if you would explore the country's development, the DOTR development in terms of the subway, the MRT, the LRT, the PNR, it would essentially, once everything is done, it would essentially connect Metro Manila, and the rest of the provinces within near Metro Manila, north and south, within a train station, which means that if you're living in Bulacan or if you're living in Cavite, you no longer have to travel by bus or by UV or by whatever, even by public car. You can actually go to the train station, take a train, and go down to, say, Makati, and go to your office. That's what TOD is, and that's how much it can benefit a property as long as it's near a TOD or an LRT station or a train station. All right. The next point is, of course, we need to consider the target market. If you would remember earlier, my example within that particular near CBD key point is going back to the example. Say, for example, you buy a property which is valued at 15 million, and then you're looking to flip it in a few years' time. May it be during the pre-selling period or when it's already turnover. Now, if you're buying a property at 15 million, ideally you would at least sell it at around 20 million. Now, if you would consider that, I mean, let's be honest, a property that's worth 20 million isn't really something that's within reach of the majority of people who are working in the CBD. This simply means that if you buy or invest a property similar to that, you're significantly narrowing the people who can actually afford your property, may it be if you're selling it or if you're actually having it rented out. Now, if you go lower, which means the 7 million, 8 million, even the 9 million, 10 million valued properties, this would significantly increase the people who can actually afford their property. Now we're tapping the mid market. By mid market, I mean those small family who are actually working in the CBD who's looking to get a property near the CBD, which will enable them to actually cut significantly the travel time that they would have to going to their offices. And at the same time, those who actually prefer to live in city area rather than going south or going north, which is where the residential properties are still very much the best property to get. Now, with that, by mid market, I mean you're talking about combined income of at least around 150,000 a month. These are the people who can actually buy your property, and based on experience, these are the people who are still looking for a property in this particular market. Those who choose not to buy while it's still pre-selling, and when the property is already almost done, then they had the interest to buy, but then again, the property is already sold out, which is when we, us, including myself and the rest of the team and the rest of our clients, come in because we now have the advantage to sell our properties, those that we bought earlier, those that we bought during the launching period, those that we bought when the property was just launched, and it will give us the best potential return of investment. And of course, the last point that I would like to stress out is, of course, the developer itself. The reputation of the developer, aside from the location and other factors, will play a huge role in how your property will actually appraise. It has to be of a developer who has a very good reputation in terms of not only delivering quality properties, but it has to be an innovative property. It has to be continuously improving. It has to be continuously developing and making sure that what they offer within their properties are actually relevant to our current necessities when it comes to living. Say, for example, at the moment, most of us are working from home. And if you're living in a condo, it can sometimes be stressful enough to actually just continue day by day, live and work on the same location, right? So say for example, if inside your property there is actually a space which we call a co-working space, wherein you can actually go there as if you're in a cafe. You just bring your own coffee, of course, and then you sit there, you work with others who are working as well. It's as if you're back in the office again. So that professional environment that you kind of miss when you were working in the office, which I hope you do still miss, you're suddenly back into such a professional environment, which is of course a good change of environment rather than always working from home, sitting in the same room every day for the past a year now since we've been still in this particular situation. So those are the few things that a developer should have, and you should consider in order for your investment, your property to actually have a good appraisal value in the future, so that when you actually want to sell it, you're gonna get a good return. All right. The next slide, or it's actually gonna be a video, and then the other slides will be talking about specifically my investments. By my investments, I mean properties that I bought and sold within the last few years. And I'll tell you more details about it as we go on.
Hello, guys. Hello, my fellow investors. How are you? My good mate Chris has asked me to do this video just to share with you a bit about me and property investing. So, first of all, my name is Bernard. I've been in property investing for over 15 years. Why? It's because I absolutely love property. If I could do it full time, if I have all the resource, I would just do it full time. I'm really passionate about it. So, yeah, about 15 years ago, I would read books about property investing. In fact, magazine. I would follow economics, what's happening in the world that would drive property. Um, uh, Articles, magazine, you name it. I would follow it, and whatever I would learn from the items that I would read, I would put that into practice. So I went into this trial and error, and throughout the years, I pretty much stick to a strategy that works for me, and based on the factors that I consider. So some of these factors are obviously like budget. I have a certain budget that I stick to. I have a target location that I know I'm familiar with, especially here in Manila. Traffic is crazy, so I would stick to just the areas that sort of works for me. I only buy residential units. I don't buy any commercial properties. Um, and I buy something that's already ready for occupancy. So, or either it's a resale, or it's been an older building, right? So, about 3 years ago, I had a change of heart. I thought, I might just try something different. I was just feeling adventurous, and I know Chris, which I've known for a long, long time. I said, how about I buy something that is off the plan, a pre-selling. So, and at that time, I pretty much broke all my rules. I went slightly over budget. It's still affordable based on my calculation, but it was above the budget that I normally stick to. I went to a partnership, an investment partnership, which I don't normally do. So that's another rule that I broke. Reason being is because it's affordable for me if I went on a partnership. So and I went outside my normal location. So yeah, I broke all the rules and I went on a strategy that I'm not familiar with, and fortunately enough, like a year and a bit into the investment, we offered the property and we got lucky. Oh, I say, we sold the property and we made a profit, a good profit. So, in fact, it was like about times three, if I remember correctly. We could have probably gotten more, but we're very happy with the results. So, yeah, I'd just like to share that to you guys. So, good luck with your investment. All the best. Take care.
All right. I'll tell you more about Bernard and what he was mentioning about the particular investment in the later slides. Right now, what we're looking at is one of the properties that we introduced sometime in Feb of 2017 in Pasig Boulevard, which is very near BGC and Makati. It's called Prisma Residences. The first building that we launched was Astra, and highlighted in particular here is a two-bedroom unit which is valued at 4,462,990 when it was launched. Now, after a few months, that was April of 2017, or roughly around 2 months after it was launched, it went up to 4,596,000. And then, after a few months, again, on December of the same year, what was originally 4.4 million became 4.9 million. And then on January, just a month after the previous price increase, it went up again to 5,022,000. And then sometime around May of 2019, this is not the current value. This is actually higher now. But this was one of the last price increase before we had it this year, early this year. This particular unit from 4.4 in Feb of 2017 became 6.6 million in May of 2019, which is just a little over 2 years from when the property was launched. Now, the next slide that you will see is actually a unit that I purchased before I even became or before I even joined DMCI as one of their sellers or as one of their property consultants. This property is a three-bedroom unit in Acacia Estates, specifically Ivory Wood. And I purchased the three-bedroom unit back in 2015 for around 4.2 million. And then the drying cage back then, which was included in this property, is valued at 279,000, and then the parking is 577,000. Now, to compute and total this, as you can see here, the total of the property, unit and parking is 5,085,398, and this is under the 20% down payment term. The DP period or the down payment period was supposed to be 52 months before it gets turned over, and then my monthly back then was only 19,007 pesos and 10 cents. Moving forward, this particular document that you're looking at is our memorandum of agreement, which is normally the document that we prepare whenever we are selling a property or flipping a property. As you can see here, highlighted is the value that I'm trying to sell my property at, which is 6,301,925 from a little over 5 million when I originally purchased it. This do take note that I was selling this property only on November of 2017, which is just 27 months after I paid the property from the original 54. So halfway on the DP period, I decided to sell the property. As you can see on the computation, the total that I paid for this unit on the down payment side over the 27 months is 543,191. And then with the computation, the total return in cash that I got from this particular property is 1.2 million, which means that my 543,000 had around 224% in increase. This is just 27 months. This is how much you can potentially earn in just roughly over 2 years. And do take note that when I sold this property, I'm actually selling it below the current market value at that particular time, which is one of the strategy that you should employ whenever you are flipping a property. Mainly because the strategy was that with that is because you're, of course, you're in competition with others. There would be others who are also selling their property at that particular time, maybe. And then the other factor is perhaps the developer still has an available inventory, which is in normal cases after the property has been introduced for 2 years to 3 years, most cases it's fully sold out. If not, the remaining inventory are not the most desirable location, which means that you are at an advantage simply because you're selling a property on a good location with a good view on a good floor with a very good value. Meaning your property has an advantage among other sellers out there, which will help you sell your property faster. This is one of the strategy that you should always consider and employ, which is what we've been doing, the rest of the group, whenever we would flip or resale a property. Again, just the word for it, do not be greedy with the amount of money that you can potentially earn because that will hinder and prolong the selling period of the property. Next slide. All right. Bernard, my partner, the guy in the video earlier, this is the property that we bought. Remember earlier on the previous slide, I sold my 3 bedroom on September of 2017. And then in December of 2017, Prisma Residences' second building was launched. So I immediately seized the opportunity and then I talked to Bernard and one more of our friends when we were still working in Citibank. And then I told them, hey, this is a good property. Let's invest in it. So we became joint buyers. And this is the particular property that we bought. This is a 1 bedroom unit, and which it was purchased in December 2017, which is one when this particular building was launched. Now, sometime in May of 2019, what was 3.1 million became 4.8 million. And this is from December 2017 to May of 2019 only. This is what less than 2 years, and it became as high as this one. And then when we sold it on August of 2019, this is the just to show you, this is a statement of account. This is normal for every unit owner in DMCI homes. As you can see, the value of the property was 3 million, and then reservation is 20,000. Our monthly back then is 9,207. If you divide that by the three buyers, we were only paying roughly around 3,000 for this unit monthly. And then the total that we invested when we decided to sell the property was 204,151, and we sold it for, this is the computation. Take note of the value highlighted. So basically, we sold it, the cash that we got from the buyer is 706,515. So if you subtract the total investment that we got there, 204,000, that's again 246% increase from what we invested. Meaning the total profit that we got from this particular unit is 502,363. Now, if I would go back to the point that I was stressing out earlier, remember the value of the unit when we purchased was 3.1, and then when we sold it, it was valued at 4.8 million. But still, we decided to sell it at only at 3.7 million. Why, you may ask? Simply because we only invested 204,000 in it, and we're already getting 502,000. Actually, we could have easily topped up or added a million and still probably sold this as fast as we would have. Do take note that when we offered this particular unit on the same month, we got a buyer for this unit as well. This is how fast you can sell the property. And imagine you only invested 204,000 in less than 2 years, and you're getting 502,000 on top of that. So I mean, as long as you won't be greedy with it, as long as you know how to actually play in this line of type of investment, and of course, as long as you're being assisted by someone in the real estate industry, well, I'd say myself, the rest of the group, who probably knows what we're doing. I mean, I can safely say that we are capable in this kind of industry, and we've been doing this for quite some time now. We don't only buy units, we also assist our clients and helping them earn as much as we could the from our own units as well. We are here assisting our clients. Normally, the relationship that you should have with your particular agent should not end after you complete the documentation with the contract to sell. Your agent should still be available whenever, say, for example, you have a question or maybe one payment got delayed. This agent should be there to help you. And when the time comes that you want to sell your property for whatever reason, as long as it's not rushed, then that agent should still be there and should be able to assist you. This is part of the service that you should be getting and you should be looking for on that particular agent, especially if you are buying a property for resale or flipping. The next slide that you would see is actually just the potential investment. Now, remember what I was talking about. The profit that we got is only a half a million. And then, but the potential profit for that particular investment during that time would have been 1.7 million. So we could have easily added 1 million and still give the potential buyer 756,000 and still be able to give that particular buyer a good value. Again, this is a strategy and we pretty much know what we're doing on this one, and we can help everyone as long as you believe in us. Thank you